Hey there, Rednecks, Preppies, Redneck Preppies. It's me, the Redneck Preppy. How you doing today? Great? Good. It's been 2 months since I last entered the toxic waters of the Bubba gun community, but it honestly only feels like a week. That said, as the Japanese used to say, duty is heavier than a mountain, death lighter than a feather. And since I'm a man who does his duty, I will bear the weight of once again going through some of the worst that humanity has to offer. Well, at least gun-wise. Okay, let's start with the first one. I had to look it up since I haven't watched the NFL since it went woke a couple of years ago, but apparently the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl back in January. Just like those people who celebrated Trump's win back in 2016 with custom paint jobs on their firearms, there is a certain subset of sports fans who also believe their firearm has to reflect their fandom of something. I don't know, whatever else I can say about this, at least the paint job was done well. I mean, it's still ugly, but someone tried. Lord love a duck. Usually when we see someone ruin a firearm, it's to destroy a C-96 Mauser to craft a look-alike of Han Solo's blaster. Well, apparently a new generation of Star Wars fans has come along and someone decided to take an AK-47 and fashion it into a squint hard and you'll see it rifle that Mandalorian bounty hunters apparently carry. And it's yours for the buy it now price of only $4,000 US. Friends, this is not the way. Speaking of awful fandoms, I'm told that Disney fans are among the worst. I mean, I doubt that's true in a world where people who enjoy anime exist, but I mean, here we are, I don't know. At any rate, someone really, and I mean really, loves Mickey Mouse. I don't know, if you're going to look like a tool at the range, I would have chosen something like Scrooge McDuck or Goofy to plaster all over your pistol. Everyone knows Goofy's based. And speaking of anime, here's our latest example of someone taking a perfectly good AR-15 and turning it into a real-world proof of their continued virginity. Now, I don't know anything about anime except that apparently monsters with tentacles do some awful things with women that look like teenage girls, so I don't know what these characters are supposed to represent. I do know, however, that if someone took the shooting bay next to me with this, I would move down as far as possible to avoid being mistaken as their friend. Now, moving from cartoons to video games, I suppose someone has been playing Fallout again and decided they need to take their poor AR-15 and make it look like something put together with parts found in a garbage pile. You might not be able to read it, but where you would usually find the rifle's safety, someone carved "Nothing's safe" into the receiver. Assuming this thing actually fires, I think the greatest danger to safety will be to the person pulling the trigger. It's insane how expensive and hard to find SVT-40s are these days, so the best response is to remove one from the world's diminishing inventory and turn it into one of the worst bullpups I've ever featured in this series. You might be able to save much of the rifle if you're to restore it, but that wood is gone forever. And man, the wood they used on SVT-40s were almost always really pretty. So thanks, Bubba. You ruined something beautiful to create this. We're not done with the comm block yet, and we have a 2-for-1 with this entry. So traditionally, a master key on a rifle was an undermounted shotgun used for breaching. But this Yutz decided that an AK would be the perfect addition to a Mosin Nagant M9130. Now, I don't claim to be the smartest man even when I'm alone in a room, but why would you put the more capable and useful firearm in a secondary role, making it as hard to use as possible? Another question I can't answer is what that bar that extends from the Mosin's trigger is supposed to do. It can't reach the AK trigger. in case you wanted some kind of, I don't know, dual firing option. I guess focusing on one inexplicable decision on a package that has so many of them is going all in on a tree and honestly missing the forest. Now, I don't even know what to say about this atrocity. Someone took an M1911A1 and managed to mate it with parts of a C96. I almost have to congratulate the Bubba who did this, if it actually works, though God help me if I could actually figure out how it would actually function. Well, there's so much going on here that I urge you to pause at this section and let your eyes run all over that's been pasted to whatever the hell this thing life began as. Honestly, I don't even know what to say about this, either as a whole or its various parts. I am wondering what the use case was that justified it, though. Now, speaking of parts glommed together, well, we've got some interesting mating going on here. It's a Mac upper that's been placed into an FN FAL stock. But wait, there's more. The drum is apparently a Swami M31, and in front of it we have an AR hand grip and possibly flash hider. I don't know how common Macs are in the United States, but are they so plentiful that people just take them and do this sort of thing to them? I mean, I know as a machine pistol, the Mac series really wasn't all that, but I don't know, even they deserve better than this. No! Gun Jesus! What are you doing? Yes, this is Ian McCollum, and he's posing with an increasingly common sight these days, a bullpupped M1 Garand. Now, I'm not one to fool around with the operating mechanism of a Garand since I don't feel like hunting down new gas system parts, but apparently someone felt confident enough to do so. I guess Patton was wrong. The M1 Garand isn't the finest battle implement ever created. It needed to be bullpupped first. Now, being a Canadian, I don't have too much experience with the fine products of Caltech, at least outside of the Caltech Sub 2000, one of which I almost bought a few years ago, but believe that this is one of their P50 pistols with a custom lower. Now, I can't quite read the name of the company that put this together, but I have to admire the fact that someone thought enough of a Caltech handgun to spend this kind of money to modify it. I will say this, it certainly looks better than a stock P50, but it's still a Caltech. Usually I say this for the SKSs that infest these videos, but we're not done with the Mac Bubba jobs. Here is a Mac 11 that someone really wanted to turn into a Thompson submachine gun. I can't imagine anything more embarrassing than going to the range and pulling this thing out and having people confuse it for a Thompson, or more importantly, not be annoyed when they realize that a Mac has been molested to turn into this. Now, usually when people argue about when a rifle is a pistol and vice versa, they're talking about like AR-15s. But someone had an AK and they decided they wanted to join the debate. I'll be honest, I have no idea how this works since it obviously doesn't take traditional AK magazines. But at the top I see something that resembles the magazine system used by the FN-P90. I'm all sorts of confused by this, except for the fact that it never should have been done in the first place. Hey, let's end this with our old favorite, the SKS-45. But because I'm the Redneck Preppy, we're not just going to be satisfied with some regular old SKS. Nope. This is a Yugoslav M59-66. Not horribly rare, but not exactly falling from the sky either. So, of course, some idiot Bubba took this rifle and, yes, bullpupped it, complete with a stock that looks like it was poured in handmade plastic molds. In fact, there's so much to be pissed off about this that I can't actually even be bothered to go over the entire rifle. It has all sorts of wrong, and whoever did this should be embarrassed. Well, should be, but they probably think that this is the cat's meow. Enough, I can't do this any longer today. I never thought this series would last this long, but just when I think I've reached the bottom of the barrel, When it comes to this sort of evil, someone gives me an even deeper barrel to go down. There truly is no limit to the folly of mankind. At any rate, I hope you found today's video to be vaguely entertaining and mildly informative. As always, I hope you never Bubba or sporter any military or historical rifles. If you're ever tempted, just sell it to someone who will love it as it is. Take care, and bye-bye.